Journal Record Associate Publisher Ted Struley joins us now to discuss more stories making news in business this week. Ted, good to see you.
Glad to be here.
Well, a push for a statewide vote to raise oil and gas production taxes faces some legal challenges. Why is that?
Well, the Supreme Court heard these arguments the other day, and they're arguing two different points. One is that this initiative petition is guilty of log rolling, that is, asking voters to decide on more than one issue on the same vote, because this would both increase gross production taxes and give teachers and other school staff a pay raise. The other issue they're arguing is that the language on the petition people were asked to sign was too vague and confusing. So the Supreme Court will consider both those arguments, come back and rule. If it goes on the ballot, it could be in November.
An energy business professor in Tulsa has examined the impact of the federal tax cut passed late last year. What did he find?
Well, he found out that it really has helped the oil industry, but there was a perception that a lot of that money would go right back to investors in the form of stock buybacks, dividends, that kind of thing. And it turns out most of the companies are using that newfound free cash flow to invest back in their businesses, drill more wells, and produce more oil. So it certainly benefits the industry in the long runs, but no instant windfall for investors.
Speaking of instant windfall, on the issue of minimum wage, I understand there's discussion going on at the Capitol about where it should be set. What's the story?
Well, there's a little bit. Jason Dunnington, a House representative, authored a couple of bills. They're not going anywhere at the moment, but he says that he will bring them back next year. He thinks that Oklahoma needs to raise its minimum wage. And part of the reason for that is you look at comparable cost of living cities like Kansas City. Those cities have minimum wage bills in place that will be double Oklahoma's within just the next few years. So in Oklahoma, we have a law that says cities can't pass their own minimum wage standards. Dunnington would like to see that change.
Right. Well, there's been more progress, I understand, on a new convention center in Oklahoma City. Where do things stand with that?
Well, no surprises. The designs have all been approved. City Council okayed it to go out for bid.
And finally, what are you guys working on for next week, Ted?
Well, Susan, we got a tip that there's a lot of butane being stored in rail tank cars near schools and churches. We're going to take a look at that in Monday's paper.
All right, Ted Struley with the Journal Record. Always a pleasure. Thank you for being with us.
Glad to be here. Thanks, Susan.